I've opened up one of my files of a tank that's been done in the past classes, and you can see that I've got a landscape, I've got a bunch of pieces to the tank here, I've got lights, I've got cameras, I've got backgrounds, I've got everything. This is the whole scene. And in the select by name, you can see how much stuff is in here. So I put together a whole scene. Now, there's also textures in here. Something to remember about Max is the texture files, so the bitmap files, the JPEGs, the images that you're using to map onto your objects don't get saved with the scene file. They have to accompany the scene file, and it would be best if they were just in the same folder as the scene. So normally, with Max, you'll have a folder called My Tank or My Vehicle, and there'd be a bunch of scene files in there, maybe all the different parts you've made, maybe iterations that you've made, and a whole bunch of texture maps, and maybe some other assets built into it too. And then when you open the scene file, Max will know where those texture maps are, because it'll always check that folder. Now you can tell Max where those maps are if they're not there, but that's kind of clumsy. And for getting the scene file to me or someone else, you want all those parts and pieces to go with it, so when they open it, it looks the same as what you remember it as. There is a tool in Max that helps you do that. It's over here under Utilities, which is this little hammer. We haven't been here before. And then here's some of the choices you get. The one we want isn't in there, so we have to hit More. And we want this one called Resource Collector right there. And you hit OK. Now this is a really simple one to use. You browse and you say where do you want to keep it. In this case I'm going to put it in the file for your class. I'm going to put it in week 3. I'm going to make another little folder that's called Resource Collector. Spell it right. Resource Collector. So I double click on it and then I say use path. And here's the path that it's going to save to. I want to collect the bitmaps and photometric files. Those are your texture maps. I want to include the Max file. You can use WinZip if you want. I have mixed results with this. It works okay, but sometimes it doesn't seem to be quick enough for me, especially if you're saving to a flash disk or something. And then you just hit begin and watch. Nothing exciting is going to happen. I hit begin and Max is thinking, it's saving, my hard drive's whirring away, and then it's done. But it doesn't say done. It's real quick. Sometimes it doesn't even get a little hourglass. But if we go check that place that I just saved it to, remember where I put it, there we go, week 3, and I put it in this folder, you'll see here's all the parts to that scene. Here's the scene file, here's the metal piece that I'm using on the grill, and these are the tank bitmaps or texture maps. So that's everything in the scene, and there could be hundreds of assets that it goes and gathers and puts in this folder for us. So think of it as just a little helper friend that gathers all the stuff in your scene together and saves it for you before you're done for the night. Get used to using the Resource Collector. It will save you from trying to dig around for that one texture map that you used and forgot where you got it from. Max will go find it and it'll put it all in the same folder for you. The one thing that Resource Collector doesn't seem to do very well is deal with TIFF files. So if you're using TIFFs, which are not really great files to use, especially for anything we're doing for games, but if you're using TIFFs, Resource Collector seems to sometimes forget those and leave them out. That's the only disadvantage I've seen to it. So practice using the Resource Collector. This scene will be in my folder for you to use. And practice saving it to different spots and get used to it.